भगवते वासुदेवाय।
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Narayanam Namaskritya
Narayanam Namaskritya
Naram Jaiva Narottamam
Naram Chaiva Narottamam
Devim Saraswatim Vyasam
Devim Saraswatim Vyasam
Tato Jayamudiraya
Tato Jayamudiraye
Nasta Praishu Abhadreshu
Nashtaprayeshu Bhadreshu
Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya
Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya
Bhagavate Uttama Shloke
Bhagavati Uttama Shloke
Bhaktir Naistiki
Bhaktir Bhavati Naistiki.
Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam Canto 3, the status quo. Chapter 5, Vidura talks with Maitreya. We are continuing text 27, right? Tato bhavan mahatadvam avyaktat kala chodita
Avyaktat Kala Chodita
vijnanatmatma nihastam
Vijnanatmatma Dehastam.
A little wrong. Text 27. Tato bhavan mahattatvam
Tato Bhavan Mahattatvam
avyaktat kala chodita
Avyaktat Kala Chodita
vijnanatmatma nihastam
Vijnanatmatma Dehastam
Vishwam Vyanjam Stavonudaha.
Vishwam Janjam Stamonudaha.
Thereafter, influenced by the interactions of eternal time, the supreme sum total of matter called the Mahat Tattva became manifested, and in this Mahat Tattva, the unalloyed goodness, the Supreme Lord, sowed the seeds of universal manifestations out of his own body. Okay? So, with the time, with the interactions of the time, then this whole creation is started. Prabhupada writes, in due course of time, the impregnated material energy was manifested first as total material ingredients. Everything takes its own time to fructify, and therefore the word kala choditat, influenced by time, is used herein. Everything is influenced by time. Otherwise, it cannot move forward. The Mahat Tattva is the total consciousness because a portion of it is represented in everyone as the intellect. The Mahat Tattva is directly connected with the Supreme Consciousness of the Supreme Being, but still it appears as matter. So it's almost spiritual, but it is not spiritual. It is material, but it has a nature like that because it's connected to the Supreme Lord. The Mahat Tattva, a shadow of pure consciousness. So there's a Prabhupada explains it's like a shadow of pure consciousness. Not pure, but almost like that. Very close. Is the germinating place of all creation. It is pure goodness with a slight addition of the material mode of passion, and therefore activities generated from this point. So Mahat Tattva is pure goodness with a little mode of passion.
That is Shambhu Tattva.
This is Mahat.
Still just
It's Mahat. Shambhu is different. We already discussed that in the creation where the Lord glancing. That glancing agents, that is Shambhu.
I thought first was that Pradhan and Mahatattva forms after the glance. Which
Yeah.
is Shambhu. The glance is
So that glance is there, but the Mahat Tattva is Mahat. It's not Shambhu.
Shambhu
that-
combination with
Yeah. In the Pradhan it is inert, they are not agitated.
No,
So when the
you
Pradhan
have
is
to understand, Shambhu is a separate person. If you had come to Maharaj's class, you would have understood. Then he is bringing in all the
energies.
other energies also with him,
16 energies.
plus the jivas also, plus time. So he's just delivering. He's the medium to deliver.
Like electric wire.
Huh?
It's a conductor.
He's the cable or whatever. But he is not the Mahat Tattva. So don't get confused with Mahatattva and Shiva Tattva. Oh, Shambhu. Okay. So Prabhupada also explains these universes, the numberless universe, so many, exist together in foam-like clusters. And so only some of them are surrounded by the water of the causal ocean. You see? Only some, not all of them. Text 28. Sopi angsa guna kalatma
Sovyam Sadakalatma
bhagavad dristi gocharaha
Bhagavad Drishti Gocharaha
atmanam vyakarod atma
Atmanam Vyakarot Atma
visvashyasya sishtikshaya.
Vishvasya Shikshikshaya.
Thereafter the Mahat Tattva differentiated itself into many different forms as the reservoir of the would-be entities. The Mahat Tattva is chiefly in the mode of ignorance and it generates the false ego. It is a plenary expansion of the personality of Godhead with full consciousness of creative principles and time for fructification. Then Prabhupada again explains the position of Mahat Tattva. It is the via medium between pure spirit and material existence. Spirit and matter in between. It is the junction of matter and spirit where from the false ego, the living entity, is generated. So it is from Mahat Tattva the false ego is generated. All living entities are differentiated parts and parcels of the personal Godhead. Under the pressure of false ego, the conditioned souls, although parts and parcels of Supreme Personal Godhead, claim to be the enjoyers of material nature. This false ego is the binding force of material existence. The Lord again gives a chance to the bewildered conditioned souls to get free from this false ego. And that is why the material creation takes place at intervals. He gives the conditioned souls all facilities for rectifying the activities of the false ego, but he does not interfere with their small independence as parts and parcels of the Lord. So that's quite straightforward. Text 29. Mahat Tattvad Vikurvana
Mahatatvad Vikurvana
Aham Tattvam Vyajayata
Aham Tattvam Vijayaya
Karya Karana Kartratma
Karyakarana Kartatma
Bhutendriya Manomaya
Bhutendriya Manomaya
Vaikarikas Taijasascha
Vaikarika Sajasascha
Tamasas Cheti Aham Trida.
Tamasascheti Aham Trida.
Mahat Tattva, or the great causal truth, transforms into false ego, which is manifested in three phases: cause, effect, and the doer. All such activities are on the mental plane and are based on the material elements, gross senses, and mental speculation. The false ego is represented in three different modes: goodness, passion, and ignorance. Sorry, false ego. This is about false ego. Prabhupada writes, all souls are situated in such pure consciousness, that means the original consciousness, are liberated and therefore they eternally live in bliss and knowledge in the various Vaikuntha planets in the spiritual sky. When the material creation is manifested, it is not meant for them. Okay? This material creation is not meant for the pure living entities. The eternally liberated souls are called Nitya Muktas or Nitya Siddhas sometimes, and they have nothing to do with the material creation. The material creation is meant for rebellious souls who are not prepared to accept subordination under the Supreme Lord. This spirit of false lordship is called false ego. Then Prabhupada describes how this affects people. It is manifested in three modes of material nature and it exists in mental speculation only. Those who are in the mode of goodness think that each and every person is God. And And thus they laugh at pure devotees who try to engage in transcendental loving service of the Lord. Now, some of them may not even say I am God, but actually they are thinking like they are God. Because I'm the controller, I'm the doer.
That's very interesting. Everybody in modern business thinks that way.
Not in like in the Vedic culture.
Right.
There are many people who are in the mode of goodness also.
Yeah.
Clean and this and that. But they are thinking they are the controller, they are the ones who are doing it, their desire is fulfilled like that. Huh? Some people, I heard people living during my years of life that they say, I wish for this and it happened.
Yeah.
I mean, they may say it but they believe strongly that they have made it happen. So that, they are also very clean and very nice, and they have compassion and all. But they have no sense of understanding God and they are the creators like that. They think they are the Lord of everything they look at, and they can control them. Like
Mode of goodness is no sense of subordination to the Lord.
it doesn't mean mode of goodness means they are surrendered most of the time. No? Right? You take poets, right? You take artists, people who, some scientists, some philosophers, right? They're all in mode of goodness. They care about nature, care for people, but they have no. And then some of them think they are actually God, like the Mayavadis. People like that. Those who are puffed up by the mode of passion try to lord it over material nature in various ways. So then you can see that also, right? That's quite obvious. So generally most of them are in the mode of passion in this material world. Some of them engage in altruistic activities as if they were agents appointed to do good to others by their mental speculative plans. So like Bill Gates, they feel, right, he and his wife, they really strongly feel that they have to do something for the benefit of other people. Because they have...
That's what Jesus wants from them.
Yeah, whatever.
Like that.
So it's like that. So they're in the mode of, passion. So Prabhupada explains, such men accept the standard ways of mundane altruism. But their plans are made on the basis of false ego action. This false ego extends to the limit of becoming one with the Lord. So even they also think like that. I'm the one. I am the cause of your happiness. I am. Very subtle, but it is. The last class of egotistic conditioned souls, those in the mode of ignorance, are misguided by identification of the gross body with the self. Thus, all the activities are centered around the body only. So they're really bodily conscious. So you can see generally Bollywood actors, Hollywood actors, right? They always try to make themselves look good, and they feel only if they look good, then they end up looking worse than before, like that. Yeah? Many of them like that. Thus, all the activities are centered around the body only. Everything has to do with the body. Or extension of the body in like their family, husband, wife, and children. Right? All these persons are given the chance to play with false egotistic ideas. But at the same time, the Lord is kind enough to give them a chance to take help from scriptures like Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam, so that they may understand the science of Krishna and thus make their lives successful. And that's the reason why Srila Prabhupada insisted that we distribute books. Because we then can give them a chance. We don't have to go and talk to them so much. Just behave nicely and give them a book. So they may read it. And that's something we hope they do. You can't force people. So what is this material creation meant for? Meant for the falsely egotistic living entities hovering on the mental plane under different illusions in the modes of material needs. I am this body, I am Brahman, I am Vaishya, I am Shudra, like that. Text 30. Aham tadva vikurvanan
Aham tadva vikurvana
manovaikārikādabhūt
manovaikārikādabhūt
vaikārikāscha ye deva
vaikārikāscha
attādivyanjanam yatā.
attādivyanjanam yatā.
The false ego is transformed into mind by interaction with the mode of goodness. All the demigods who control the phenomenal world are also products of the same principle, namely the interaction of false ego and the mode of goodness. So everything in this material world, beginning now, you can see the mind, our mind, is actually a material element formed from the false ego interacting with
Mode of goodness.
mode of goodness. And the demigods are also like that. Of course, they are different degrees of combination. We don't know how much that ingredient, but it's like that. Right? So that's how the demigods are created and the mind that is created. Prabhupada says false ego interacting with the different modes of material nature is the source of all materials and phenomenal world. So everything you see in this material world is a combination of false ego with mode of goodness, mode of passion, mode of ego. They combine and combine to create different types, different mixture, right? If you add, like if you make cake, if you put too much sugar, it becomes sweet cake. If you put half sugar, then it becomes some other cake or whatever, right? And then according to how you like it, it's a good cake or a bad cake. Right? Like that. Some people like chili in the cake, some people like only sugar. Some people like the cake to be sweet and a little bit salty. Some people like sour in the cake. You know, some of you don't agree, but I've seen people.
Chili too.
Yeah, there are people who really like chili so much. They put chili in ice cream, chili in...
It's like the
Yeah, you see, Mataji is saying there is chili ice cream. So this is how the material world is. You know? People combine themselves, or the nature itself combined to create.
In the previous sloka at the end, it said the false ego is represented in three modes, in three different modes. False ego is represented in three modes. So now it is said false ego is transformed into by mind by interaction with mode of goodness. False ego plus mode of goodness. Like, three modes are told as representation of.
I went through that just now.
So the false ego is represented. Means, is there no difference between modes of nature and false ego?
No, they are different. They are all coming from the Mahatattva. From the Mahatattva, false ego comes. Mode of goodness also from Mahatattva.
That's like a separate amount.
They are all separated. They are all becoming different. And then they combine again with each other.
Okay. First, false ego came and also three modes came. And false ego combined with mode of goodness.
Different modes. But
so
false ego manifests itself through these modes.
It combines.
yes, I think that's the
No,
explanation they are giving now.
That's what I got confused as.
Manifest means
They're
it's
separate.
separate element. It's
Yeah.
separate, but it is
No, because it interacts with that mode.
yeah,
and
but it
when
interacts
comes
with that
like
mode and that show.
Yes.
That's how it represents.
That's how we know about false. People will know false ego about the modes,
Yeah.
right? In one sense.
Yeah.
Maybe you can say that.
Yeah, you can say like that. No false ego above the modes.
Above the modes.
Yeah.
Brahma Bhuya.
So it's represented.
Yeah.
Because it's combining with these modes.
Yeah.
It's a separate energy, but it's also mixing with this energy to
Yes.
create the material bodies and different types of consciousness and so on. Don't try to worry so much. As you read again and again, it'll make sense because it's quite straightforward in these few pages.
So the understanding is like the false ego is represented in the three modes is actually explained later on, like how it is.
Yeah, he'll explain further and further. But you will see the same thing has been explained by different personalities also. Maitreya is explaining now, later on Kapila will explain the same things, but different details are emphasized. Then you get more information on this aspect also. Now, where was that? Confused me.
That's 31.
30,
We finished
30,
30.
we finished 31.
Yeah. So again, just understand, false ego is separate. Three modes is separate. Then they combine to create different things. And then the three modes also combine with each other.
Yeah.
Okay? It'll come, all these things, but don't get confused. Okay, let's just hear first, and then later on we can go a bit deeper and deeper. 31, right?
Yes.
Tajasanindriyani eva jnana karma mayani cha. The senses are certainly products of the mode of passion in false ego, and therefore philosophical, speculative knowledge and fruitive activities are predominantly products of the mode of passion. So here, he is explaining, when the mode of passion combines with false ego, the different senses are formed. Then Prabhupada in the purport explains the chief function of the false ego is godlessness. Okay? Even though this false ego is coming from Mahatattva, which is coming from the Lord.
Separate.
This is energy also, but it's separated energy. When a person forgets his constitutional position as an eternally subordinate part and parcel of the Supreme Personality of Godhead and wants to be happy independently, he functions mainly in two ways. He first attempts to act fruitively for personal gain or sense gratification. And after attempting such fruitive activities for a considerable time, when he is frustrated, he becomes a philosophical speculator and thinks himself to be on the same level as God. This false idea of becoming one with the Lord is the last snare of the illusory energy which traps a living entity into the bondage of forgetfulness under the spell of false ego. So it's a very a good, perfect system, because it first covers the entity into thinking he is the source of everything. The more he is convinced with that notion, the stronger he is bound in this material realm. It's a trap. It's a trap that gives you pleasures also. But these pleasures are
Material.
temporary.
So is this like the Manomaya platform?
Manomaya platform?
Because that also this is mental speculation.
Yeah,
But that conception is not the spiritual.
not yet, no?
Yeah, that is on Gyan,
Yeah.
Vigyan. Manomaya Gyan is
Manomaya is beginning
Yeah.
to understand that I'm separate from the body.
Vigyan. Or maybe that is beginning and then Vigyan is
Vijnana is when you understand you are part of the Supreme Lord.
Okay, I thought that is Ananda.
Anandmaya is when you actually
Self-realized.
realize the bliss. Okay. The Prabhupada then says the best means of liberation from the clutches of false ego is to give up the habit of philosophical speculation regarding the absolute truth. Basically, we don't try to make up our own.
That's the biggest problem, right? People.
So biggest
Yeah,
problem, but we have to
big-
stop thinking we know what is right and wrong. Best is to always fall back on Prabhupada's books.
So when Rupa Goswami said Jnana Karmadina, this is the Jnana part. Right?
Speculation, mental speculation.
And previously was the karma part, you can fruitive grain for in the first paragraph.
Oh, in the first paragraph, fruitive.
It was-
Yeah. Until you understand your part and parcel, you only act on the false ego plan.
Yeah.
Okay?
You are the
Yeah. Or not necessarily understand, at least you accept the statement in the beginning that I'm part and parcel, I'm spirit soul. And then you are willing to contend with your false ego or fight with it in the beginning. And then that's surrendering. And then finally, as you become stronger in your determination and your devotion, then it's easier to overcome your false ego. Basically, false ego means you think you are the Supreme Lord. You can be a subordinate to working with someone, but still you are thinking you are better than that person, or you can do things better.
I'm the one who makes the leaders.
Yeah. Even though you have a boss above you, you still think I am doing the whole thing.
So here it says like when Deviant is frustrated, he becomes philosophical speculator and think himself to be on the same level of his God.
Yeah.
But it's also a chance like when he becomes frustrated, then he comes to the God and trying to understand, to take the process of surrendering.
Well, that is true, but Prabhupada says is giving an analogy in general what people go through.
Just try to enjoy.
Yeah, just like you see Bill Gates, right? He works so hard, get all the money. Then after that,
Try to give it up.
no,
Not trying to give it up.
no, he's not trying to live it up. He's already lived it up.
No, give it up.
Now he's trying to give it as
up.
a,
Yeah.
and then he's taking the role of God.
No, in that sense.
Yeah, it's generally people go through this. Now, of course, there are some people who get frustrated and then they turn to God. That's a different thing. Very few people do that, right? How many people turn to God? Manusyanam sahasreshu kaschidhyati siddhai, right? Very few people.
After frustration.
But not necessarily. There are 4 types of people. You're only saying frustration. Yeah, so it's not necessary.
The thing is that, when this stupid thing about Manav Seva is Madhav Seva.
Yeah, Manav Seva is.
So basically they're like, okay, God is there, we want to serve him, but this is the way to serve God.
Yeah, but this is coming from the impersonal understanding.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's not necessarily correct. How can you just say that if I serve to feed some group of people, I'm feeding Krishna? Because it's coming from a corrupted understanding of feeding a Brahmana.
Yeah.
The Brahmana represents
Yeah.
Supreme Lord, and therefore you can please the Lord like that.
No, and so many people now, when the month of Shraddha is going on, when they talk to our relatives, they say, now there is no Brahmana, so we just went to the orphanage and we gave the food and came.
Yeah, exactly, right? They're just speculating. That's
Yeah.
exactly what Prabhupada
Yeah,
says.
it's so strongly from
Even by
it's whether it's Bill Gates or this example that he's saying, it's basically the same
It's the same thing. It just
idea.
comes out differently.
Yeah.
Here comes the
To the level at which one can operate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or to the level that you feel this is good. I'm doing good.
In today's world, everybody like things like they go to the village, they give clothes and books. So that's but they think that is the one. After it.
Yeah, so it's true. They give charity and they think it's a good thing and I should get something back.
Yeah, they may not
Otherwise they're
actually-
not doing it. I have to get something in return. That's why they're giving charity. Most people give charity because they expect something. Very few people who give charity and don't expect something. But they are on a different level, higher level, where they think they can. Prabhupada says earlier, right, that they feel that they are placed there to help other people.
agents of God.
Agents of God like that. So there are many people in US, particularly in US, who give a lot of money
Yeah.
to World Organization for Charity, and US is one of the biggest
Oh yeah, huge.
charitable organizations coming from. But it's also corrupted. People who run that take a lot of money from those people to put in their own pocket. So anyway, to understand all this, we need to take up the process. Otherwise, we will speculate. That's what Prabhupada is saying. And we speculate because of false ego. Better to speculate, right? Because speculate means you only have to deal with your mind. It's easier to deal with the mind than with somebody. Correct or not? For example, if you don't like to do something, and then your father or your guru, spiritual father, tells you, I want you to do this. You say, but Guru, I don't like to do it. Already your false ego is telling the guru what to do. Music.
Nobody has joined it.
Yeah, just shut it off. They can call it if they want. It's making so much noise. Yeah. So this false ego will further combine with the different modes to create the different elements, the layers of the universe also. So we will read that also. Text 32. Tamaso bhuta suksmadir yathakam lingam atmanaha. Translation. The sky is a product of sound. And the sound is the transformation of egoistic passion. In other words, the sky is a symbolic representation of the Supreme Soul. So Prabhupada explains to us what it means in the purport. In the Vedic hymns, it is said, Yathasmad Atmana Akasha Shambhutaha. The sky is a symbolic representation of the Supreme Soul. Those who are egotistic in passion and ignorance cannot conceive of the personality of Godhead. For them, the sky is a symbolic representation of the Supreme Soul. So a part of the ego is the sky also. It is coming from the false ego. It combines and then it forms the sky. Hey.
Sky is product of sound, so it comes from.
So yeah, it's going to explain further. So where is the sound coming from?
Passion.
Egoistic ignorance. It's a transformation of the egoistic passion.
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 False ego plus passion.
Oh, in my okay
In the translation.
in the online it is ignorance. It says ignorance, egoistic ignorance. Yeah.
No.
That's what it is.
Huh?
What is it show?
Online it is saying ignorance. Yeah, here also it's ignorance.
Why there's so many problems?
Because actually, if you look at the
Word to word.
the word to word tamaso, from the mode of ignorance.
Yeah,
It should be mode of
passion. It was translated as mode of passion.
Material elements
No,
are part
Prabhupada translates tamasa from the mode of passion.
Wow, there are two different.
Yeah.
Tamasa is ignorance.
Here is saying tamasa.
So we do not know whether it's editorial, but tamasa should be from mode of ignorance. So it could be
Yeah,
editorial.
tamasa is-
Editorial.
Material elements come from ignorance.
Huh?
Material
Yeah,
elements come
from ignorance. In the last
Material elements
Brahma Samhita
comes
class,
from ignorance.
in the Brahma Samhita class also we have seen like, ego plus mode of goodness is mind.
Mind.
Ego plus mode of passion is
Intellect.
intelligence.
Everything
And
else
ego
comes
plus
from-
mode of ignorance is all the elements.
All the elements.
All the elements.
Yeah, so we should correct this.
Whether this is incorrect.
Veda base is correct.
Veda base is correct. This
Propose.
No, Veda base has the word passion, which should be ignorance.
But which video are using what?
Where's your book? What does the book say?
Vedabase.com here online. You got
Book is
Amitabh Prabhu showing
This
this
whole
one.
book is saying passion.
The
That is
DBT
correct.
book says ignorance.
All the book says what?
Passion.
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 No,
So,
but
but
where we have the small book is a new edition. Maybe that.
I got the electronic
That-
version.
Huh?
The online version says electronic version.
no, in this case, the online seems to be correct because tamasa means mode of ignorance. That's how I would agree.
Whether it's
The online.
Online.
The local database is still showing the old. Okay. But then why in the purport they? Oh, okay, because it's passion and ignorance. All right. Transformation of egoistic ignorance. Sound comes from that. Text 33. Kalamayansha yogena
Kalamayansha yogena
Bhagavad Vikshitam Nabha
Bhagavad Vikshitam Nabha
Nabhasho Nusritam Sparsham
Navashodishtam Sparsham
Vikurva Nirmame Nilam.
Kurvan Nirmameninam.
Thereafter, the personal Godhead glanced over the sky, partly mixed with eternal time and external energy, and thus developed the touch sensation from which the air in the sky was produced. So, the first one is sound, mixing with the sky. Okay, then the second one is
air.
air is coming. Okay, development of air coming from the sky. Sky is actually calm, is ether or something you can say. So the derivation of sky with what? With
The
the
glance comes the touch sensation.
okay glance. So the touch sensation comes with the next element, which is air.
Yes.
Okay.
So sound, sky, and
No.
Touch in between touches.
Oh, you originally sound. Yeah, sound and sky. So Prabhupada says, and this is exactly what's happening. First is very subtle. The sound, then sound is coming from ether,
Ether, sky.
okay, which is sky. And then the next element, air, is coming from?
Sound.
No,
Touch.
coming from air,
Touch.
the touch
Touch sensation.
sensation.
Not
Hmm?
just
Because the container is there.
It's continuous. So anyway, it's a derivation, which means the touch sensation has sound in it also. Okay, the element. Or you can say air has this touch and sound in it.
this is Garbhodak solution. Is referred to personality of Godhead glanced over sky.
No,
No, this is before. This is before.
Still we
Yeah,
are still
this is not one universe. This is addition.
hasn't really. These are starting.
Very starting.
No, they haven't even gone into the universe. You haven't taken birth yet.
Bulk product.
yeah.
That's like this.
It's even before Costco.
In this sense,
This is outside
the
the
sky itself is the Mahatattva, right? When we see that the Lord glancing
Not
the
necessary.
sky.
No. I mean, he glances over the Pradhan, then the Mahatma,
Yeah.
and then Mahatma, the false ego. Everything is coming. The Lord's glance is always there. When you read everything, you will understand. Okay, you every time you see the Lord glance, you immediately think it's the Mahatma or something. No, every element to combine, he has to glance also. Now the whole thing can happen very quickly, but then we will try to go in a sequence again. But that's not how it's going to happen. Yeah, this is what Maharaj was showing also. Alright, then similarly from the touch you get air, and then from there other gross materials are formed. And then from the form you develop into fire, and taste into water, and smell into earth. So text 34. Prabhupada continues describing or translating. Anilopi vikurvano
Anilopi vikurvano
navo soru balanvitaha sasarja rupa tanmatram jyotirlokasya lochanam. Thereafter, the extremely powerful air interacting with the sky generated the form of sense perception, and the perception of form transformed into electricity, the light to see the world. So this is another thing that is happening also. Sense perception means form, right? So the form is coming from what combination?
Air and the sky.
Yeah, so
Fire
what? Fire. When the air and sky combine, they produce fire.
What is Tanmatra? Because there was a question in the second canto in the assignment, I was not able to answer that.
Tanmatra here says sense perception. Uh-huh.
Put a diagram with on the
Oh, you have a diagram?
Yeah.
You can put it up. Anyway, don't. When he puts it up, you can. Text 35. Anilenanvitam jyoti vikurva paravikshitam adattambo rasamayam kalamayam sayogataha. When electricity was surcharged in the air and was glanced over by the Supreme, at that time, by mixture of eternal time and external energy, there occurred the creation of water and taste. So you can see again the Lord glancing. Okay.
So the glance is happening continuously, irrespective. of
Anyway,
all the
I don't know how many times he's glancing like that.
glance. That's what he's.
It appears
doesn't
like
stop
that.
like that.
Yeah. The point is, the Lord's glance is necessary for these things to happen. So maybe he's just looking at the material energy, and everything is taking place because of this glance.
Yeah.
It's invoked like. As to how the sequence is what they give us, so we can understand the combination. But it can be happening all at an instant. There's. I haven't come across where it says it took so long and then suddenly this happened. No such thing.
Immediately.
Yeah, it appears from my understanding, it's happening almost instantaneously.
He's just looking at everything.
Yes, almost instantaneous. So from water, you get taste is in water. That's why your tongue must have saliva. If your tongue is dry, you can't taste. Right? Try eating something very dry. You can't really taste, you'll choke. But if there's water, then you can taste. So I am the taste in water.
So here. Sabda, Sparsha, Rupa, Gandha. Rupa, Sabda, Gandha, Rasa and Sparsha. That is Tanmatras. Object of the
Yeah.
object of the senses. So it's Vishaya.
Got it? Object of the senses. Not the senses, but object of the senses. Thank you. Text 36. Jyoti Shambho Nusham Srishtam Vikurvad Brahma Vikshitam
Vikurvad Brahma Vikshitam
Mahim Ganda Gunamada
Mahimganda Gunamada
Kalamayansha Yogataha.
Kalamayamsa Yogataha.
Thereafter, the water produced from electricity was glanced over by the Supreme Personality of Godhead and mixed with eternal time and external energy. Thus, it was transformed into the earth, which is qualified primarily by smell. So again, they mix again, keep mixing and mixing to create the next gross. Now, very gross. This earth is the grossest form. Now again, this gross level is on the elemental level. So when they come down to the earthly planet, they become even more gross. So the earth there that covers the entire universe is of a different nature. It's more subtle than the earth that you find here, comparatively. Here is more solid, there is more subtle in it, but still it's grosser than the previous element, water. Because otherwise you'll see water up there, right? It's not like that.
It's like a cloud containing water. We don't see.
We don't know. Even clouds with water we can't see. So it's like
Can we apply the same understanding with water also? Like water here is more.
yeah,
water
it is
there is
gross.
more subtler than
Yeah.
It's pure distilled water, right? Water coming down is a distilled water.
Water is different. Yeah. The elemental
But that-
level.
That's an interesting example you're giving. With the cloud is containing water is more subtle than the water here.
Yeah.
Because you can actually
Pure.
It's like
a
vapor.
distilled water.
It's different. It's more like if you boil water, you get steam, right?
Vapor.
It's existing in a different level. It is water, but it's in a vapor.
Yeah.
So in the covering of the universe, the water is even more
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was
subtle.
saying. We can get some idea of how it is.
more subtle. So it's actually, like I said, not easy to understand if we keep thinking in this way, in a mundane way, then it's very hard to figure it out.
That seemed like an interesting.
Yeah, this one way to understand. It's more subtle. Because everything comes from subtle to gross. Yeah. But the gross on the covering is not as gross as what you find here. Because why? It contains within itself the different planetary systems that are made of these elements. And the other planetary systems we can't see with our gross eyes. They are on a subtle level, subtle dimension, right? The demigods living on a different planet, they also have soil, plants, and so on. But it's of a subtle level. So now you know, first is sky. Sky is coming, has the element sound in it. Then after sky, it mixes itself, it comes down to air. So air has the element
Sound.
Touch.
sound and
Sky. Sky.
sound and
Sky.
touch.
Touch.
Yes. So then when the sky and the air mix together, then they form the next element, which is
Fire.
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 Form.
Fire has
Form.
form,
Touch.
touch,
Sound.
and sound. Okay. And then you go down to the next one, water. So when and this time there's electricity involved, no? So once the electricity involved, that means it's actually fire combining with fire. So when it combines, it creates water. So in water you have the elements
Taste.
sound,
Sound. Touch.
touch,
Form.
form,
Taste.
and taste. So these four elements. And in earth you have the fifth element,
Smell.
smell. Okay.
What has a form is in the sense of
Form in the sense of fire. Fire. Oh, electricity. Huh?
So in our conception, water and fire don't go together.
Yeah, we can't see it like that because we are so used to That's why it's gross now. It cannot combine it. As it becomes subtle, they can combine.
Yes, settle.
Like vapor, fire plus.
The thing happened in the Indian Assembly.
Yeah.
The person named Lalu Prasad, they said that if they are going to build a dam and generate electricity from the water, then he said, if you take out electricity from the water, then what will remain in the water?
Anyway, over here is when it's on the grossest of the lowest level, they won't combine.
But
You
we
can't-
can
very hard to
understand the
combine.
heating of water when the water has a fire.
Vapor element,
Like
Yeah,
that.
that's the electricity.
fire plus.
The fire element is like electricity. Yeah, it is there. Like when you do chemistry, it's got ions,
Yes.
positive, negative, attraction. So on the atomic level, they have all that. So don't worry about it so much. When you break an atom, it generates so much heat. And so where is it coming from? It's all.
Fire plus.
It's how they are created. Everything is put in and forced into atoms like that. And you think about it, the Lord's energy is amazing. Huh?
Every item has-
So anyway, gross level, at this level, very hard to combine. You cannot combine water and fire. But at a subtle level, yes, they can combine. It's mind-boggling if you are a physicist or a chemist. You think, how is this ridiculous, all bogus. But then when you really truly understand, this is Achintya, the Achintya Shakti is involved, where it creates elements that we don't even understand, right? Even in previous yuga, they will combine certain elements, and when they combine it in a certain fashion, it can float. And then they can use the mantra to travel on that floating thing. They don't even need fuel. It's because these energies are based on subtle elements.
Mantras connected to subtle.
Yes. Now also you can travel using mantras, but you have to purify yourself so that you can connect with the subtle elements. Yeah, we are not. We are so contaminated.
When hydrogen combines with the two atoms of hydrogen, it combines with oxygen, releases energy.
Mm.
So,
Yeah, there's always
exactly. So then that's
fire is there.
That's producing the heat actually, at the atomic level.
Yes, it's always fire is always. Once you read this, you know why there's heat now when they separate or join because the Lord created it.
It's fire to
It's already in it's by nature it has that.
Water is like H2O.
So every time you see the Lord is glancing, right? Every time he's glancing. So that means without the Lord's sanction, nothing can take place. This is another way you can understand. Right?
You can think in terms of that anything, if you are here in matter, spirit has to do some.
Spirit must be there in the
combine.
Lord.
So here, all of these other things are essentially.
That's why Prabhupada is quoting the verse there. Right? Maya Dekshana Prakriti Suyate Sacharacha. Why is he saying that? Because this is my energy, it's working under my direction. Otherwise, the material energy all is inert. It's just waiting what to do. What should I do? Then the Lord glances, sending the message.
No, the energy to be activated, energetic has to be there.
Yeah, exactly.
It's very interesting when they study the atoms. The electrons, when they are moving around in the orbital
Yeah,
of the atoms, orbital is like a space.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
not orbit is one constant.
they have a location.
Yeah, but orbital is not a fixed
Yeah.
area.
Yeah, it's not a fixed area.
So how it is moving, they are not able to figure it out.
No, they.
Because the whole thing is all imagination. Nobody had seen the orbits.
Yeah.
No, the thing is, it's orbital concept.
No, those are all like imagination.
No, the laws are based on the Lord's.
Everything is based on that. So in that, those things are working. That is the assumption. Is
I mean, the assumption is very close.
very close.
Very close. Because it's based on the Lord's. Lord has already created all these things. So they study through their X-ray and all kinds of gamma ray photos. They can see the movement in a certain way, and then they base on their formulas they have
Formula
derived.
based on
And of course, they haven't seen it still.
But
but
everything is based on
because
all
based
just
on
on
that,
one,
they
yes.
can It's like, when they draw the 90%, because they're coming close to infinity, but they can never touch it. It is good enough,
Yeah, something like that.
right? It's good enough.
Also, all this Anu, Parmanu, they have Sanskrit words for.
Yes, it's
That
already
also-
there. They just
yeah.
don't want. See, when they first conquered India and they found out so much knowledge, they want to destroy it.
And they took some of it to Germany also.
They want to destroy it because they don't want people to know the culture was so superior. So they really tried to break down, and they are successful now. They have done that. But and you're right. In German, they studied from
That's
the
why the machine
Vedas, the
science and
atomic
everything was so
bomb.
much.
Similar to
And the aircrafts were all, the rockets were developed from Vimana Shastra, the Second World War.
That's why Germany is good for machines. That's why people buy German machines, even for manufacturing.
Yeah,
machines.
yeah, maybe you're right.
The time description is given, right? It's just like so.
We'll come to
detailed.
that, no?
Yeah, so much detail.
But people cannot accept that, so they want to ridicule us. Because once people accept this, then the scientists have no more say.
They don't have a job.
They cannot cheat people anymore. So then that's why they're always ridiculing Indian invention or discussion on
Spelling
spirit.
check.
They're all demons. Text 37. Bhutanam nava adinam yadyad bhavya varavaram Isham paranu samsarga yata sankyam gunan vidu. O gentle one, of all the physical elements, beginning from the sky down to earth, all the inferior and superior qualities are due only to the final touch of the glance of the Supreme Personality of God. So the Lord is overseeing everything, every aspect of creation. He doesn't directly come involved later on, but as he wants to make sure all these are set up first. So he's involved until the seeds of universe comes out of Mahavishnu and floating in the
But
Karana ocean.
then they enter
Then
into
they mix with the Mahatattva, like bubbles in the. Prabhupada says it's like
Muddy
bubbles,
in the muddy water.
not foam like clusters. So then he says, so only some of them are surrounded by the water of causal ocean. He says that. Not all of them are covered by the causal ocean. It's interesting, eh? Only some. Only some, not all.
Somewhat floating.
They're all floating, but then because they are in clusters, only some, because clusters means some will go out,
Some
up,
are up,
some are on the water itself.
Oh, and then that makes sense. All maybe underwater.
Yeah, ours may be under the water. No, because ours is the smallest.
Yeah, the weight is very less.
Yeah. But then he also says the Mahatattva doesn't touch the Karana.
inconceivable.
It's inconceivable, but I can understand. Yes, spirit and matter doesn't mix like that. And it's also interesting because if you read Brahma Samhita, this universes coming from Mahavishnu
Spiritual.
is also spiritual.
Yeah, we read that.
And then when it grows up, you don't know what happened to that.
But it's like the soul in
See,
the body.
exactly, just like the soul. Yeah, exactly. I was going to say
What's
Text
in the soul?
38, like us, we are covered, no? Ete deva kala Vishnu. You want to put something on the Krishna? What? Kalamayam salingina Nanatva swakriya nisha Rochu pranjalayo vibhum. The controlling deities of all the above mentioned physical elements are empowered expansions of Lord Vishnu, which means they are. This is what? They are.
People of a planet.
So they are what? They are all
Vishnu, the
Shaktis. They are embodied by eternal time under the external energy, and they are his parts and parcels because they were entrusted with different functions of universal duties and were unable to perform them, they offered fascinating prayers to the Lord as well.
So they are Jiva Shakti only, right?
Hmm?
Jivatmas.
Yeah, but
They're not
these are the first
Yeah, the first,
Five elements. First
the
five.
demigods.
yes, but they are not Jiva.
No, Jivatmas only is it. Part and parcels here.
No, their Shakti is Maharashakti.
There is
They are also
Oh, they are not.
empowered expansion. Okay, it could be Jiva, part and parcel.
Because the controlling deities, all the
No,
devatas.
I thought they were the prototypes first.
Yes.
If they are the prototypes, they are Shaktis.
They are like Shaktis.
Maharaj and Shinta Devatas come.
The
They are
first
prototypes.
demigods.
They are prototype demigods.
Yeah, prototype.
They are not Jivas.
No, Jivatmas. I think I asked this question in the Brahma Samhita. Maharaj
Yeah, but
Jiva
I think if they are prototypes, then they are not. They can't be Jivas. Prototypes.
Jivas come up only from the navel.
Yeah, prototypes are outside, and then inside is the Jivas.
Yeah.
That's my understanding from Brahma Samhita.
Yeah, I think
Okay,
that's
we
it.
can you can always write to Maharaj and say, if they are the first prototypes, but then every universe has the fire covering. They are also on each element. They are also demigods. Yeah, so those are jivas.
In charges at different levels. In charges at different levels.
Yeah, and then inside, like air, water, on that level is one demigods, and then on the inside there are different demigods.
Vayu.
Yes, Vayu is also there, Vayu is also. So Vayu is sometimes considered to be supreme, right? So that Vayu is
The prototype.
prototype.
So the Vayu under the bottom of Garbhodaka ocean is the prototype, but the Vayu that is moving in the
Under
ocean,
the Garbhodaka
No,
ocean.
it is
on
outside.
the bottom of the
It's in Mahaprabhu.
Garbhodaka ocean, that is within a universe.
Karana.
That's not
Karana ocean.
Yeah, Karana ocean. As far as I know, they are prototypes. The first demigods.
Because even Brahma, there is a prototype
Yes.
Brahma and an individual Brahma.
Yeah.
So that's my understanding. But anyway, there could be some subtle things here because it says part and parcel. Because it says Angsa.
Kala. Kala.
Hmm?
Kala.
Kala is. It's not say. It doesn't say Kala here.
It's there.
No, that's
Kala.
time.
Kala.
No,
No,
there
there
is
is
Kala.
part- there is
Eti
parts
Deva Kala Vishnu. Kala is parts and parcels of.
Yeah,
So what
Kala.
is Shakti is part
Brahmas.
and part.
Kala is not necessarily right.
Yeah.
But anyway, let's not get into it too much. I do not know. I'll have to find out. Let's just read the purport and see Prabhupada's description of these demigods. The conceptions of various controlling demigods who inhabit the higher planetary systems for the management of universal affairs is not imaginary, as proposed by persons with a poor fund of knowledge. Now here he's talking about within the universe.
Yeah.
The demigods are expanded parts and parcels of Supreme Lord Vishnu, and they are embodied by time, external energy, and partial consciousness of the Supreme. Human beings, animals, birds, etc. are also parts and parcels of the Lord and have different material bodies, but they are not the controlling deities of material affairs. They are rather controlled by such demigods. So here he's talking about jivas, demigod jiva and human being jiva and animals. Such control is not superfluous, it is as necessary as the controlling departments in the affairs of a modern state. So he's talking about how the demigods function. So we can read all that, the responsibilities and so on. Now in the next paragraph, anyone who places the Lord and the demigods on the same level is called a Pashandi or atheist. So sometimes you see someone say like that and you don't want to call them atheists, you can call them Pashandi. And they won't understand. Not that you should do that, but the point is there are people who are atheists and they don't like to be called atheists, right? Have you met when you're preaching to people and say, why are you atheistic in this? No, I'm not an atheist.
So in the second canto, we said that before we see anything, the Lord sees first and then
Yes.
we see.
Yes.
So where is the demigod in the picture? So Lord sees first, demigod sees, and then we see.
Well, the super soul is in your heart, right? Everything goes through the super soul. Yeah. Then the demigod is empowered to do that vision.
Based on your
So
current.
Super soul.
the moment of
Super soul is in the demigod's heart, it's in your heart. So it's the same
Same
person.
super soul.
Yes.
So can we also understand the movement of the eyelid is also controlled
Yes.
by the demigods?
Demigods. So anyway, everything is controlled by the Lord through someone or directly. Like that. Alright, then Prabhupada also talks about the demigods some more. Demigods are worshipped by persons who are more or less adherents of the processes of jnana, yoga, and karma. That is, the impersonalists, meditators, and fruitive workers. So, impersonalists usually worship 5 demigods, right? Surya, Durga, Ganesh, Shiva,
Vishnu.
and Vishnu. Okay, fine. They consider Vishnu demigod. And then the yogis worship one of the demigods to get some potency. Usually they'll worship Brahma or Shiva. And karmis, they worship any demigods. Mostly they worship Lord Shiva, Durga, and Ganesh. All for material things.
And Lakshmi also.
And Lakshmi because she has money. Right? Otherwise, why they worship? Right?
Usually you find
No
all
other
these
reason.
5 in one platform. Basically, they will sell the deities like that.
Oh,
They
okay.
combine all of them and they sell it.
Now they become good.
Professional.
Well, they do it online. I've seen Ganesh Puja also online. I have seen it. They have the thing going on and then they prepare at home and then the puja, the guy online, he does it. They just offer and that's it. Finish. It's done. So that mentality is now prevalent in India quite a lot. So if you bring it into ISKCON, then it's going to ruin a lot of things. You shouldn't be doing that. You should go and offer properly. Then Prabhupada says in the next paragraph, the Lord is equal to every living entity. He's equal. How is he equal? How is he equal?
Sama Sarveshu Bhuteshu.
Yeah, Sama Sarveshu Bhuteshu. Means he is,
Impartial.
means he is the Paramatma. Then he sanctions everyone separately. The Ganges water is meant for the purification of everyone, yet the trees on the banks of the Ganges have different values. A mango tree on the bank of the Ganges drinks the water, and the Nimba tree also drinks the same water. But the fruits of both trees are different. One is celestially sweet, and the other is hellishly bitter. What is that? Nimbegan. Nimbegan. Yeah. Right? That's what they like.
We have Jews also.
The condemned bitterness of the Nimba is due to its own past work, just as the sweetness of the mango is also due to its own karma. There you go. Prabhupada says, according to the karma, the trees manifest also. So trees with a lot of thorns means they're very sinful, previous lives and like that. But then rose bushes have thorns.
But still, it's good.
So we offer nice roses to the Lord, even though it has thorns. So according to your karma, otherwise the Lord will throw you back into the pool where you have to take birth again and again. The demoniac cannot rise up. Text 39. Deva Uchu. So what has happened now, let's just understand. All the elements are created. So when the elements are created, they are still inert. They cannot function because the Lord has glanced. So everything is there. Now they are saying, He has created them. He said, we have to do some work also. We want to do, so help us. That's why I was thinking their prototype.
This is outside.
Yeah. This is outside. This
Conglomerate.
Conglomerate.
Yeah,
Not
it's a
even
conglomerate.
conglomerate.
Well,
Not even
Maharaj,
conglomerate state.
No, that conglomerate is for the covering.
This is non
This is
Non-conglomerate.
No, it is not
Okay,
conglomerate yet.
Yes.
It's not
Operating
yet.
5 minutes break.
They are not cooperating.
They are not cooperating.
So, Balram, the only three people showed up. Even though like other three students, there has to be strategy to involve the parents. I went there and talked.
No, but this was not just. This was taken well.
Only three showed up. One family.
You got the email, right? How many years?
Yeah, yeah,
10 people or so.
Before Brahma is created, prototype Demigods, all of them come
Ah,
inside.
there.
They come inside and they empower the Jivas to take the role. The demigods.
Oh,
I
you
forgot
heard that?
about it. I'm sorry. I was just like a mess
So
yesterday.
before the
I didn't-
Prototype is
I mean,
Shaktis, no?
I didn't see, but I
they are
didn't even
original
exist.
demigods in
But I
the.
heard Shaktis
So
back
where?
So there is Indra now. Indra Brahma is a post. Actually, Indra is.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but we'll see.
So this original Indra is Vishnu Tattva.
Yeah, you
The-
see that much.
It's a Shakti, it's not Vishnu Tattva.
No, original Indra, which he is in the
The
Vaikuntha.
prototype.
Yeah, but he's not. He's an associate.
He's not Vishnu Tattva.
I don't think he's a Vishnu. He's
Because
an
I had-
associate. Just like the Chakra and so on.
So they.
The Shakti.
So Shaktis.
Maybe I'm confused with that. But that Indra, he comes down.
Yeah, possible. I don't know. That's it. That's why if you think too much, you get confused.
Can you put the password? Gauri,
Hare Krishna. So, KRS.
no.
Okay, let's start. Text 39. Deva Uchu Namamate Deva Padaravindam Prapannatapopasamata Patram Yanmulaketa Yatudyonjasuru Sansara Dukam Bahirutshitanti Demigod said, O Lord, your lotus feet are like an umbrella for the surrendered souls, protecting them from all the miseries of material existence. All the sages under that shelter throw off all material miseries. We therefore offer our respectful obeisances onto your lotus feet.
Instead of watching,
Which
Multiple.
many demigods.
Plural. Plural.
I think it's.
Watch out.
I don't know no Sanskrit, so it's good enough
Yeah,
for
it's
me.
true.
So here they are glorifying the. Okay, as I said, the first element that was created was sky. And then
Sound.
no
Air.
air. After air,
Fire.
fire,
Water.
water.
Earth.
So it's so subtle. The first one you hard for you all to get, right? I keep asking you what's the first one. You can't say. It's too subtle. Okay, after all these elements are created, then the demigods want to perform their service, but the elements are not able to be manipulated properly yet. So I'm using the word manipulated. So they are approaching the Lord. They are offering him prayers to say, please allow us to use the ability to use this material energy for creation. So first they are praying to the Lord. This is what the prayers are. And the prayers you will find it's amazing, these prayers, no? The way they offer the prayers. So basically, in this prayer, it says his lotus feet is like an umbrella. Means
Shelter for them.
it's giving shelter and then it's protecting them. And what is that? From all the
Material misery.
material miseries. What is the material miseries?
Adhyatmika,
Yeah, the three types are
Adhyatmika,
Very softly, you're becoming subtle also. What is Adhyatmika? Adibodhika. Be firm. You know? When you right or wrong, if you want to say, say. Don't worry. We are the material world, we'll be always mostly wrong. So it's okay. But if you are under the shelter of the Lord, these things cannot affect us. It's a fact though. Right? If you don't have faith in Krishna or his teachings or his devotees, then that determination won't be there to do anything positive in life. We accept everything negative like that also. So once you have the Lord, even if something bad happens, you don't react to it. Rather, you think about it. Right? And then you appreciate why you're going through that difficulties or miseries, so to speak. And you can see Brahma also saying, right, in the 14th chapter, 10th canto, Tatenu Kampam Su Samikshama. Yeah, he says that. He's willing to accept. Because then it doesn't matter anymore for him. What matters for him is how Krishna feels. How Krishna and he can reciprocate. It was more important for him, that is more important. So he said, I don't mind all these miseries, so-called miseries. Because once you understand that relationship, any misery cannot affect you, basically. So therefore, the demigods are expressing that joy to Krishna. Text. Huh? Canto 2, first verse. Akuto Bhayam. Free from all doubts. It's a nice verse. Yeah. O King, constant chanting of the holy name of the Lord after the ways of the great authorities is a doubtless and fearless way of success for all, including those who are free from all material desires, those who are desires all material enjoyment, and also those who are self-satisfied by dint of transcendental knowledge. The second part is very similar to almost similar. Yeah. So even if you are doing all the material activities, you will become doubtless and fearless if you chant the holy name of the Lord. But you have to chant the holy name with faith. That's the important thing. You can't just simply chant in vain. It must be in chant. Okay, so this prayer is very important also. Prabhupada explains the prayers are important because they are actually the Lord's appointed confidential servants. So what they pray is also important because it reveals how we should view the Lord and how we can also offer prayers. By simply memorizing these prayers also is beneficial for us. We can offer these prayers to the Lord sometimes. Text 40. Data yadasmin bhava isha jivas.
Data yadasmin bhava isha jivas.
Sapata yenna vihata nasadma.
Sapata yenna vihata nasadma.
Atman labante bhagavam savangri.
Atman labante bhagavam savangri.
Chayam savidyam mata ashrayema.
Chayam savidyam mata ashrayema.
O Father, O Lord, O Personality of Godhead, the living entities in the material world can never have any happiness because they are overwhelmed by the three kinds of miseries. Therefore, they take shelter of the shade of your lotus feet, which are full of knowledge, and we also thus take shelter of them. It's quite straightforward actually. And then, Prabhupada talks about the Adhyatmika, Adidevika, Adibodhika. Let's go to the next.
These three kleshas are also related to the demigods. Right?
Yeah, in a
Very
sense.
nice connection.
In a sense, that's true also.
Well, I think somewhere in the Bhagavatam I read that when the devotee takes to when a person takes to devotional service, and the demigods also they reduce these kleshas for that person.
I don't know if I came across that, but
I'll see if I read somewhere.
generally my understanding is once you take up devotion service sincerely, 100%, then the Lord takes over, so the demigods
Gods
don't bother.
Yeah, so they have to follow.
That's my understanding. But yeah, you can
I'll try to get that.
see that verse or whatever purport you read. You can look at it.
So Lord takes over Prabhu to, so your karma is delivered to you, but it's in the personal guidance of the Lord instead of the machinery of karma.
Okay, you can say
Right?
like
That's one of the things I heard.
yeah, you can say.
So because devotees do get their karma, it's not like you don't get back their karma. It might be
Well,
minimized.
one is prarabdha karma, you cannot do anything about it.
Yeah.
But the other karmas are reduced to some extent.
Not get burnt up.
By devotional practice, you burn it up.
And Lord personally, instead of just directly his energy, that's,
Well, it could be
that's
his energies, could be his pure devotees. They are as good as the Lord.
Yeah.
That means it's still under his, just like when Dhruva went, the Lord could have come directly. No, he sent Narad Muni first.
Yeah.
Then after that he came.
I think it's in nectar devotion, the first benefit of Klesha.
Klesha Guru, yeah. Stops all this. And then Subhadra. But no, we haven't come to Subhadra, right? Still on the Klesha. Most of us, anyway. So anyway, in general, living entities in this material will go through these kleshas, and whenever there's a relief from the klesha, they feel happy.
Gap between two miseries.
Yeah. So they never really know real, true happiness. True happiness is only in the spiritual realm. And it's an interesting thing Prabhupada gives in the second paragraph. The argument that unless one has proper knowledge, one cannot be freed from material miseries is undoubtedly true. But because the lotus feet of the Lord are full of transcendent knowledge, acceptance of his lotus feet completes that necessity. Surrender to the Lord. Follow his devotees. So in the last sentence, Prabhupada says, simply to endeavor for knowledge without devoting oneself to the Lord is a waste of valuable time. Right? It has to be samsiddhir haritoshan. Yeah. Otherwise it doesn't work. Text 41. Margandiyate mukapadmanidai
Margandiyate mukapadmanidai
Chanda suparnai rishayo vivikte
Chanda suparnai rishayo vivikte
Yashagamat shoda saridvarayaha
Yashagamashoda shriva
made that mistake anyway. Padam padam tirtha pada prapanna
Padam padam tirtha
The lotus feet of the Lord are by themselves the shelter of all places of pilgrimage. So this couple of verses glorify lotus feet, right? You can get a lot of information about lotus feet of the Lord. If I say write some short description of Lord's lotus feet, you can look at this and explain. The great clear-minded sages carried by the wings of the Vedas always search after the nest of your lotus-like face. These are very nice, poetic. Some of them surrender to your lotus feet at every step by taking shelter of the best of rivers, the Ganges, which can deliver one from all sinful reactions. Paramahamsas. The Paramahamsas, Prabhupada says, are compared to royal swans who make their nests on the petals of the lotus flower. I've never seen that. It's amazing, huh? Must be in the spiritual. The Lord's transcendental bodily parts are always compared to the lotus flower because in the material world, the lotus flower is the last word in beauty. The most beautiful thing in the world is the Vedas or Bhagavad Gita because therein knowledge is imparted by the personality of Godhead himself. So the Paramahansa makes his nest in the lotus-like face of the Lord and always seeks shelter at his lotus feet, which are rich by the wings of Vedic wisdom. Very poetic, this purport. Since the Lord is the original source of all emanations, intelligent persons enlightened by Vedic knowledge seek the shelter of the Lord. What Prabhupada is saying is if you study the Vedas, you should come to this conclusion also. It's not any other conclusion. Seek the shelter of the Lord, just as birds who leave the nest again search out the nest to take complete rest. And then Prabhupada quotes the verse, what I was saying, Vedescha sarve aham eva Veda. So therefore he's indicating that if you want to study Vedas also, you should come to this conclusion. So therefore he keeps saying intelligent persons who read the Vedas. He'll give you the intelligence. And then the other thing is, intelligent persons who are like swans take shelter of the Lord by all means and do not hover on the mental plane by fruitlessly speculating on different philosophies. Now you can see two ways. One is directly like that. The other one is devotees who are practicing. They will take shelter of the authorities and the Lord's teachings rather than thinking how to do it on their own, which is creating their own philosophy. It's okay, I can do this. That's all right. This time is okay. Correct or not? You minimize this, minimize that, like that. Sometimes, people like people buy things, right? Sometimes devotees will, when they are new, they'll offer everything to Krishna. But as they get over many years, they won't offer everything to Krishna. Right? They're like, oh, it's okay. First time they're devotees, they get all their clothing, everything, they'll show. But after many years, they're like, Krishna knows he's in my heart. I bought it. It's like, yeah, because we tend to. It's a different philosophy. Huh?
If I buy this, it will become prasadam because I'm a devotee.
Yes, it's all different philosophies. Yeah. Or they will also offer their guru without offering. You say what Guru Maharaj is pure, he eats its prasadam. This has happened, I've seen it. So I'm just giving you examples like. Right? Oh, I remember I was telling Mataji also that when I first was going to this temple, one time this Mataji was offering milk for the deities, and then a couple of people came and they wanted milk also. So what she did was, the offering already was done for the deities, so she couldn't offer again. What she did was she boiled some milk and mixed the offered milk with the other milk and then said this. So when the authority found out, the person told her, it's okay, this time it's okay, next time please don't do like that.
Here we do like that.
So a lot of times most of the people, I don't know how
Yeah,
they understand, but they do this.
So,
They think it's okay.
so that's why I'm saying, speculating on different philosophies.
So for Sunday feast, if we cook the second time,
They should be offered.
but it may not. deities
No,
will be
you
sleeping
offer
already,
the
just in the
kitchen.
kitchen.
Just offer. It doesn't mean you have to offer the deity. You can't keep interrupting the deity. That's fixed already. If you offer extra, then offer your downstairs a picture of your guru over there. That's good.
So in Janmashtami, like we are cooking the entire day.
Every time, if it's a new batch, completely, if you
batch,
wash a
yes.
pair of pots and everything to cook,
So we may not wash the pots, but should we like offer every time? Because we are not doing it.
We are
Well,
cooking
the
if you
same
wash,
item.
then that
If you
thing
wash-
is already offered, right?
Yeah, it's
Mix it.
you should clean the pot and then cook nicely and offer. It's only in the picture, quick offering, it's fine.
If it's a different prep, then we have.
Yeah, it's a constantly
Same
different prep.
So the same person cooking all the time?
Yeah.
Same
Person,
preparation
same
also in
rice.
multiple batches.
No,
Yeah,
it's not
that's
like
okay.
that. Depends.
So all things happen here.
No, if you're cooking,
Combination.
let's say you're cooking like a huge quantity, but you have to cook small quantity to
Yeah,
mix.
small
That's
batches.
okay, because that understanding is different. But if you cook one time and then you say that's it, and then you ran out, then you come back to cook again.
No, not like it's a constant cooking from 7 days.
Okay, because you have the same quantity.
Yeah,
You have a
it's
quantity to meet. Okay, that's okay. I'm not talking about that.
So that is okay. That only we offer like up to like 11 o'clock we offer something, and in the evening we take whatever you have done. Or sometimes like particularly at the time of 7 o'clock, 7 to 9.
The best standard is if you are cooking a game.
Safe
But
to
if
offer.
you are cooking, let's say your pot doesn't fit everything, but you want to cook so more than the pot, that is different. You understand what I'm saying? Yeah.
2 batches.
Yeah, you want to cook this quantity in 2 batches. That's okay.
No, but if we
To
are
offer
cooking
one.
because we fell short of it.
Yeah, then you have to offer it. No? It's a new thing.
Safe to
Even if the same pot is used.
Clean the pot.
No, it's the same. Let's say I'm just giving an example. Like we say make rajma, then we make chole. So it's a 2 different items.
Yes,
So both should be offered.
it should be.
But we are cooking in the same pot where rajma was cooked because it's not required to clean.
No, which actually you should clean.
No, what we do is put the water and
Yeah.
clean and inside, then just start boiling it.
Yeah, okay, at least clean it and throw that away because you should offer chana after that.
Yeah, it was a separate dish.
Okay, yeah. So this time probably I'll take care of
No, that's a higher standard. If you guys don't want to do that standard, I can't say.
it. No, we can do it. I mean, it's not. Yes,
Very always a photo. It's not difficult, it's just perception that
it's
we've
a
already
perception,
offered.
Yeah, that's
Oh, no.
yeah, exactly.
See, that cultivates a bad quality. You will become habituated to not offering, which I was telling this
Yeah,
lady was doing the milk offering. So then she said too many people came and then she never meant to cook more. So then she just boil and mix and say this is all. If that's the case, I can infinitely do every day. No? I can always keep some offered milk.
Keep adding.
Every day I can add it to the new batch. I don't have to offer, right?
Yeah.
Correct, right?
Then they will not into a devotional service.
Exactly my point. So that we have to see, like, I understand Janmashtami, you want to cook for 2,000 people, you don't have the pot. So that vegetable all been cut, right? So you just take a few from the whole batch like that. So the whole thing will be considered as offered. That's a different than if you're cooking different stuff.
Items.
Yeah.
Yeah, helps in the cultivation of your own.
Yeah, so that's what
So what about
mental
the
speculation.
re-engineering prasadam? So white rice becomes fried rice later.
But you don't offer that.
Okay, we don't.
It's
because
already
so
offered.
But is it okay to heat offered? Ideally not.
Well, you don't have to throw away, right?
Yeah.
So if you're adding some cooked vegetable and warm it up, it's fine.
You still have to follow US government rules.
That's right. The heat must be certain and hygiene and all that. No, you have to be careful because Prabhupada said you shouldn't reheat rice because it will get bad if you reheat it. It will get spoiled, you know. So that was the reason. Another thing is, once it's offered, it is Krishna. You understand why he got
You don't put on
disturbed?
the stove.
Yeah, that's why he got disturbed by that. That's why I said I don't know what to say in that situation. But mostly we want to reheat to eat because we want to eat hot. You know?
Yeah. That's anything over 3 hours is tamasam.
4 hours.
No, prasadam will never become
Tamas.
tamas. No. Once it's offered, it's forever. It's prasadam. Externally, it may look moldy or what, but it is still prasadam.
But at the same time, you have to maintain that, like you use rice next day for cooking. You have to read it
Yeah.
according to the US standard.
Yeah, according to US standards. So certain thing, it's not hard and fast rules in the scripture, which is it's just that you have to understand. On your own, you don't have to, but for mass distribution, you better make sure because it's your preaching will be hampered. So the higher reason is for preaching. Yeah, heat it up nicely. Yeah. Plain rice to fried rice. Why not?
Prashadam.
Huh?
Sarala's food always is it needs to be always served hot.
Yeah, yeah.
It's
X42.
so upset to be served cold.
Yachstadadya Shrutapratyaya cha bhaktya Samrijyamane hridaye vadaya
Samrijyamane hridaye vadaya
Jnanena vairagya balena dhira
Jnanena vairagya balena
Rajema tattengri sarojapitam
Rajema tattengri sarojapitam.
Lotus feet. No? Simply by hearing about your lotus feet with eagerness and devotion, and by meditating upon them within the heart, one at once becomes enlightened with knowledge. And on the strength of detachment, one becomes pacified. We must therefore take shelter of the sanctuary of your lotus feet. Now, this statement is factual. The thing is, we are not pure. We have so much other things in our heart. These things don't take place at once. So we are not enlightened immediately because we have other things, other agendas, priorities. We have other more important things to do. No, it's a fact. That's how we think. Because we are so conditioned, we think like that. Oh, I don't have time for Krishna today. I'll come later. It's like that. So to have that effect instantaneously, right? That's why Prabhupada said, if you chant one time, you go back to God. Right? So that's what it is. Heart is not clean yet, so you can't do it. So you have to do other things to come to that stage. So then the other thing is eagerness and devotion. You really want to do it. Right? Usually, generally, when you first become a devotee, you're eager and you have devotion. But after a few years, the eagerness and devotion pales. Why is that?
Offenses.
One thing is offenses to the Vaishnavas. Generally, I think it's to the holy name. I think most of us, we commit offenses to the holy name because we chant inattentively. And then it creates problems in our hearts. So it becomes difficult. Because this process is so powerful, like the demigods are saying, at once becomes enlightened.
Yeah.
Very powerful. It is sure to work. Huh? Katwanya. Sure to work. We cannot deny or say, well, like that. In Kali Yuga, we are very expert in talking. Isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
I've noticed that people are very expert, they can talk. Sometimes you're astounded by the way they can make sense out of nothing. So, but the real reason is because we become expert at twisting. Most of us become expert like Munis. Whoever can twist the best, he is the biggest Muni.
In Kali Yuga, orators are considered to be the scholars.
Yeah. Those who speak well, everyone say, oh, he's a big, pure devotee like that. But no, you have to see their actions. See their characters, see what they do, their lifestyle. Then you can see, this person is, pakka. Otherwise, what we become? We become only like scholars. We don't want to set that kind of, who was it? Kashmiri? Keshav Kashmiri, right? The Lord realized the guy got knowledge, he just wasn't applying it. So the Lord felt sorry for him and said, okay, and then he also felt really bad, but what the hell I'm doing. So then his own Ishtadevi came and said, this is, the Supreme Lord, you better take shelter. And then he became pure devotee. He saw the transition. One overnight he transitioned to a pure devotee. And he realized this is the main thing. So same thing with us also. We're so attracted to the non-permanent, And especially nowadays, in the last 15, 20 years, the influx of technology has gone up in a very, so it is very,
Become intelligent.
Degradation is
So rapidly. Let's go.
so it is so confusing and attractive for, like when a child sees something shiny or like fire, they like to touch it. So we are all attracted to this technology now. But it doesn't mean you don't get attracted. What it means is you have to use it in Krishna's service as much as possible. So that way you are not attracted to it. You just use it and then that's it. I see everywhere I go, I travel and say everybody has either a phone like that or they don't even want to talk to anybody. Before even the advent of this iPhone and all the tablets, right? People also were still impersonal. They all used to have books and newspaper covering their face. They're sitting next to each other. Everyone has their own thing. So because why? The Prabhupada explains the materialistic person mind is so disturbed. Completely disturbed. So they don't know what to do. They don't know what is right. They don't know what is wrong. So it is completely disturbed. They don't know how to do it. If you go to New York, right, many of these people live in a very small area. The rental apartment is half your sitting room like that.
$2,000, $3,000.
Yeah, 2,000, 3,000 just for that, and they divide it into like the front lounge, dinner, and bedroom
And bath.
and bathroom, one area. It's too much.
And one person couldn't afford that because he had to go right from San Francisco to New York. So he converted a dumpster into a living place.
We're living in a trash now.
People live in shifts.
And then that became New York Times news article and they had pictures of how he converted everything.
So because of all this, the minds of materialists are very disturbed. Super disturbed. And so we should become devotees so that we become detached from this material. Whatever.
Those
Prabhupada,
tendencies are there in us also.
yeah, we have that. I'm bringing it up so that we know we have this problem. Then we need to address these things. Yeah. The main thing is you have to address this situation yourself. You cannot hide like ostrich. Put the head underground and then think everything is okay. No, you have to address. Because who can actually do it? You have to do it. Others can't do it for you. I can't chant for you. Unless I am a pure devotee, then I chant for you. Then I say, Lord, free him. Then that works. But Prabhupada has already given us everything. He said, you can go back, but you have to do sincerely. Prabhupada writes, culture of self-knowledge can bring about detachment from material affection. And without such detachment, there's no meaning to knowledge. That's very interesting. Huh? Why does he say that?
So they will be not entangled in material. They will be not entangled in material.
Not. He's saying that we will not become entangled with material energy.
So when we understand the spiritual knowledge and then we try to apply it to ourselves, then we can examine whether these attachments I have are really necessary for my life or not. So we can, in that introspection, we can see, okay, is this really useful? Do I need it?
Exactly. So spiritual knowledge helps you to determine what is sat or asat, what I need and what I don't really need. When I need something and when I don't need something. Yeah. Say it loudly. Yeah. Use things that are favorable and reject things that are unfavorable. So that's what spiritual knowledge is. Self-knowledge. I am a spirit soul. This is favorable for spiritual life. It's important. Otherwise, knowledge makes no sense.
I am a spirit soul is the important.
Not just that, but you have to.
Yeah.
See, I'm a spirit soul by itself is not enough. I'm a spirit soul who is supposed to be serving Krishna. And what am I doing about it? So that is the right thinking. So Srila Prabhupada is always emphasizing in different ways, so that he's awakening our desire to go back to Godhead.
But that also, if we do alone, then we can fool ourselves.
Guidance,
So, guidance and even like maybe some friends or association.
devotees,
Yes.
Under the guidance.
yeah, guidance, authorities like that. Otherwise, Prabhupada says, the most stubborn attachment for material enjoyment is sex life. One who is attached to sex life is to be understood as devoid of knowledge. Knowledge must be followed by detachment. That is the way of self-realization. So nowadays you see in society, they are asking people to be attached to sex life.
Oh, yeah.
Because
They want to run
They
their
can sell
industry.
more products.
products, yeah, it's made out such that they can exploit people. That's why sex is a very strong product for them, so that they sell it through different media, but they are making money out of it. You may think you are enjoying, but actually these guys are enjoying more. That's why Prabhupada says knowledge must be followed by detachment. Which means you give up on this mundane base level enjoyment. And then you become Dhira, not disturbed anymore. Before you're disturbed, now you become, you're not
Stage of
disturbed.
a steady mind.
Steady mind. Sita Pragya. And so Prabhupada quotes Yamuna Acharya. Since my heart has been overwhelmed by the devotional service of the Lord, I cannot even think of sex life, and if thoughts of sex come upon me, I at once feel disgust. So, what is Prabhupada saying? A devotee of the Lord becomes an elevated Dhira by the simple process of meditating in eagerness on the lotus feet of the Lord. And every kind of mundane taste goes away. Vasudeva Sarvamiti, ultimately. Vasudeva Bhagavad Gita. You do the process, then Bhakti Yoga Prayogata. Janati Asubhaya. Jnanam Chaha Ahaitu. Become detached, but you gain Vairagya. So this comes automatically when you do devotional service. Jnana and Vairagya. And that's why Prabhupada says it must take place like that. If there's no detachment, there's no meaning to the knowledge. Whereas material knowledge is to increase your attachment. Yeah. And they don't want you to be detached. And they feel if you are detached, they think you are communist or something like that. Huh?
That's why so much advertising.
Yeah, that's
They will think that you are different.
they won't think you're different. They think you're crazy. Actually, their lifestyle is crazy, but because we are
Minority.
we are minority, that's one thing. We are saying something that they don't want. They say we are crazy.
Or they have never seen or
And
experienced
somewhere in
that.
the heart, they know what the devotees are doing is right, but because they are not doing it,
Therefore,
they
we
want
are
to
crazy.
defend.
Yeah, it's a defending. It's the same thing. So for us, it's mainly we have to start chant nicely. There's no other process. Kali Yuga process is to chanting. So we have to chant nicely. How much effort you put in chanting daily? Right? Is it japa, what management by japa, japa by management? Or do you it's true, right? Sometimes you're chanting, your kid calls you, then you're chanting and then listening, and so all that is not going to help us progress in Krishna consciousness. If you need to talk to your kid, just put down your beads and do that. And then after you finish, you just take back and chant. That strictness we have to cultivate also. Because a lot of time we don't do that, right? We just continue from the... Bhaktivinoda Thakur says if you stop halfway, then you should start that round again. I like that. Yes. Just stop to do some talking and then continue. He said, better you start again because the whole austerity is useless. I mean, he's been serious. You were saying?
Yeah. I say yes, somehow this japa itself. We take it as if we take it as something happy, nice, I really like to do all the things.
Because artificially you cannot think like that. It is nice, but artificially you cannot think like that. You have to develop the taste. And you can only develop the taste through
Association.
yeah. So when you all chant together, then you will develop the taste. So like we have retreats, Japa retreat, right? All these retreats. Parikram, then during that time you are chanting. So that's where you get the taste. Then you find when you're doing everything nicely, you find that you can chant. In your mind you can hear chanting. But then that's another set of problems will come in. Then you're thinking, oh, I can chant. Creepers will come. I'm so good. So your mind is going at it. When you're thinking like that. Text 43. Vishvasya janma sthiti samyamate
Vishvasya janma sthiti samyamate
Kritaavatarasya padam bhujante
Kritaavatarasya padam bhujante
Vajema sarve sharanam yadisha
Vajema sarve sharanam yadisha
Smritam prayachati avayam swapumsha
Smritam prayachati abhayam svapumsam.
O Lord, you assume incarnations for the creation, maintenance, and dissolution of the cosmic manifestation. And therefore, we all take shelter of your lotus feet because they always award remembrance and courage to your devotees. So, creation is done by Lord Brahma, maintenance by Vishnu, and dissolution by Lord Shiva. Now, when he says you assume incarnations, means sometimes a Lord personally is a Brahma and personally,
Sometimes he empowers, sometimes he does.
personally is therefore he's in, and then the other time is Shaktivesh. So the Shakti is also Krishna. So he is the three in one sense. Achinta Veda Veda, but they are not him. Except for Vishnu. So basically, most of us, we know all these things. The duties of Brahma, Vishnu, and Maheshwara. Huh? They are all Guna avatars. Alright, then towards the end, Prabhupada says, although he's speaking about Shiva and Brahma, although they are incarnations of the Lord, Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva worship Lord Vishnu, and thus they are also counted amongst the demigods and not as a supreme personality of Godhead. Persons who worship Lord Vishnu are called demigods, and persons who do not do so are called asuras or demons. So within one family you can have asuras and demigods.
Aditi and Diti. Aditi and Diti.
Yeah.
Same family.
Prahlad Maharaj, his father, he, Vibhishana, Ravana.
Kaliva in the same body also both.
Yeah, but still you can see some devotees. Yeah, even sometimes you fight in your mind, right? You want to do some nonsense, another part says no. So the demonic thing is an asshole.
Good dog, bad dog.
Huh?
Good dog, bad dog.
Good dog, bad dog. That's actually from the Red Indian.
Yes.
Native Indian.
So, but the other thing is, because Prabhupada says persons who worship Vishnu are called demigods, you can't think of yourself as demigods. We are aspiring to be like them. Text 44. Yatsanubandhe sati deha gehe
Sanubandhe satidehagehe
mamaham niti uda duragrahana Pumsam suduram vasatoti punyam Bhajema tatte bhagavan padabjam O Lord, persons who are entangled by undesirable eagerness for the temporary body and kinsman, and who are bound by thoughts of mind and I, are unable to see your lotus feet, although your lotus feet are situated within their own bodies. But let us take shelter of your lotus feet. It's funny that. It's kind of straightforward. The Lord is in the heart of every living entity as the Paramatma. So his lotus feet is already there. If you are a devotee, his lotus feet is already touching you. So anyway, Prabhupada says, he emphasizes, in the age of Kali, the process of hearing Krishna is the most effective means to gain release from unwanted family affection and thus find permanent freedom in life. Remember, we were discussing yesterday about family entanglement and so on. So how to get out of it? Chant nicely, do service nicely. Then you, Jnana Vairagyam will come. Huh? Break for 2-3 minutes. Yeah, we break for 5 minutes.
The same.
We're going till 1 o'clock.
Up to 1:30. I'll finish this chapter at least.
In the first chapter where Arjuna also was
Bewildered.
and it's where he says about Kingsman until 136 or 40, like about seeing the father, grandfather.
Killed. Yeah, he didn't want to kill them.
Kingsman, oh, now I can feel happy.
Yeah. That's right.
Considering
One next
himself
sitting to you,
as
where you
Huh?
can
considering himself as a
Yeah, yeah. Affection.
I don't know how much dedicated to me, I don't